there's a couple things that you can do. One is you can basically build a funnel from scratch, or you can start with an existing one. So like and I'll share off like what this essentially looks like. So if you want to add like a front end product, like let's say front end is ebook. Usually you'd say like the name of it or something like that. And let's say you sell it for, I don't know, $7. And let's say it converts at, let's say, 4% or whatever you want. You can basically add a little product like that right there. Now, here's the problem that a lot of people have is they just have a product like this and they say, hey, let's say we send 1,000 clicks. What does that look like? Well, in this case, you make $280 if you have a 4% conversion rate on a $7 product. It's okay, but what if you do some basically paid ads and stuff and it's $1 a click? Well, in that case, you're losing $720. So that's probably a bad business model, right? Even if you get all the traffic for free, that kind of sucks because you're wasting a ton of time on that, right? Well, here's where that can get a little more exciting. Let's say you want to add an upsell, and let's say for the OTO here, or which stands for a one-time offer. It's basically an upsell when someone buys, they see like a special offer. So let's say you have a video training series, and let's say you sell it for basically $27, and then the conversion rate here is based upon the front end. So if only 4% of people get in, it's what percentage of the 4% basically buy this. So let's say you do like really great offer and you get a fifth of all the people that buy the book to also buy this. Well, what does that look like here? Well, congratulations, now you're only minus $500 instead of minus $700. So still not a great business model right there, right? And you see, well, even if I do a little extra work, like let's say I work on the conversion rate a bit and I basically bump it from 4% to 5, and maybe if I bump this from basically 20 to 25, still not the best of models there, right? Well, in this case, you could add, let's say you add a done for you service, okay? So we'll call it a DFY service, and let's say it's based upon, the topic that you're selling right here. So maybe if you have a book on how to do SEO, you have the video upsell showing you how to do SEO, and you have a done for you service where, you sell an SEO service itself, and let's say you sell that for $497, maybe even per month, but let's just say like one time right there, and let's say you get of the 4%, maybe 5% basically take you up on that right there. So with that little tweak right there, and keep in mind that's only 5% of the 5% right here, so it's a tiny fraction of the total traffic. With that little bump right there, you're all of a sudden going into a profit, and that's assuming that it costs you like $1 a click. So right then you basically jump from losing a lot to, oh, you're all of a sudden making over $900. Not a bad deal. You can also add a downsell. So let's say they turn down the video training. We could add, instead of an OTO, we could add a downsell for, in this case, it was the video training, and we'll say light version of the video training, or we'll say a replay of of the training. So instead of it being live, they'll get a replay of it, and instead of basically $27, let's say you charge only let's say essentially 10, and of the 4%, let's say you get a fifth to basically take that. All of a sudden you bump up you know, the money a little bit more. And you can just like play around with the stuff. And even right here, let's say, hey, let's have a downsell to the done for you service. And you know, maybe instead of you know, we'll say a light done for you service, so you'll basically offer a bit less. Maybe instead of basically doing the SEO on their site, you'll just, you know, do like maybe like a schema or something I'll explain in like, you know, a minute. And instead of $500, let's say you sell it for $99, and let's say, you know, get maybe like 5% of those guys, add that, and you know, you start to kind of up the numbers a bit. Now, what happens if, let's say, we play around with some stuff and say, hey, what happens if we increase the price, you know, to $67, but conversion rate, let's say that goes down to maybe 15% instead of 25. What happens in that case? It's like, oh, the numbers jump up a bit. So even though the conversion rate dropped by basically 40%, or basically, you know, 10% off of the 25, that basically jumps up the numbers a lot right there. Well, what happens if maybe we change this to $1,000, and you know, maybe it goes from 5% down to 3? What happens in that case? Oh, the numbers jump up a decent amount right there. So you can play around with this and turn, like, you know, a bad funnel into a good one. You can also say, hey, what is, you know, what's the value you know, of those leads to you? So what's the value of, if someone buys the front end, how much is that lead to you worth over time? Well, if someone buys $7 over time, you can probably send them a bunch of other offers, and you know, they're probably worth, you know, at least $5 to $10 in the future. So let's say we say, hey, we think each one there is worth, you know, let's say at least $10 over time. You know, what's that worth? Well, all of a sudden, boom, we're at about 2.2K. So we go from, in this case, losing about, you know, I think it was like $700 or so for every 1,000 clicks, to making over $2,000. So hopefully you guys kind of understand how kind of neat that can be